Or his.
No.
Hold on. Is that better? Is that
We're
better?
still mute, silent as the day is long.
That's weird. I can't. Oh,
Hi,
Stuart.
Stuart. Just trying to get Elaine so she can hear us, or we can hear her because she's currently muted.
Can you hear me?
No.
I can hear you, Elaine.
Hannah, it's you. You.
It's me?
It's you. Why can't I hear you? They're earphones.
Look at me blaming you. It's
Look,
me the whole time.
it's in your ear.
You're in the headphones, that's why. Anyway, let's hope our marketing advice is better than our tech. Yeah.
Yeah. So two people, I've had a couple of people come back to me saying they're going to try and get on. Leaving's one of them actually. So because I ring round a few messages, and Gary Nell put his phone in because he says to me, "Sorry, Elaine, I'm in South Africa on holiday." I was like, oh, shut up. Oh,
Stuart, we've not met before. Where are you calling from?
I'm in Idaho.
Okay. So it's much earlier for you.
It's 9 a.m. here.
Oh wow, what a time difference.
So Hannah,
Where are you
go on.
What's that? Sorry.
Where are you from?
I'm in Amsterdam at the moment. So it's 5 p.m. here.
Hannah is from Nevis.
Oh, in the West Indies, yeah. Yeah. So originally closer to your time zone. I'm slowly getting further away.
She's going colder. She's going over to the colder side.
Not for long. I'll fix that.
So actually, funny enough, Stuart, I was just going over your case study, which was quite good actually. So got some great stuff in there. I'm pulling out. I'm like, yeah, that's good. We did tap on actually. I've just been listening to the one about newsletters and articles. So Hannah runs our account. So she runs our retaining work. So when we do any one-on-ones, company where we get involved with them as their marketing team. And Hannah is like literally the content queen. So
what a title.
Content queen. Yeah. So
you should start me off with low expectation, Elaine, then I can exceed it. Don't start me like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just thought it'd be quite good for Hannah to come on actually, because I thought, well, we chatted briefly about newsletters and webinars, and it'd be really good for you to if you've got any specific questions or ideas, or Hannah can give you a little bit of an idea of how to do your newsletters, because they're really good for building in marketing qualified leads. I always like to put Stuart in the deep end, as he realizes.
Do you have a newsletter currently, Stuart?
No, we don't.
Are you just thinking of doing one, or
maybe, I don't know. I was telling Elaine the other day that we did one a few years ago, probably like 10 years ago or longer. And I think we did it just like a quarterly newsletter kind of a thing. And it was okay. But we struggled finding content and knowing if it was even received very well.
It was or it wasn't, sorry.
We didn't know because we were doing it through Constant Contact.
Okay.
And I know it gives you analytics on open rates and stuff like that, but we didn't know what we were looking at. So because we're surveyors, not marketers, and so we ended up just kind of slowly doing less and less newsletters. And then it just disappeared altogether. So we haven't done one for a long time.
It died a slow death by the sounds of it, your poor newsletter. You neglected it and then it just died. Well, I think Elaine's right. For newsletters, marketing qualified leads are, rephrase that. Newsletters are a great way to get marketing qualified leads. I personally have a few newsletters that I see as my baby because it has a very strong subscriber list and people actually like getting it. We actually sometimes get emails from people saying thanks for the newsletter, which I was like, huh, what? But it was a labor of love. So the ones that I've been involved with that have been successful, and again, this is just my experience, so everybody's different, but they've been done over a number of years. We've experimented with what does and doesn't work and slowly tweaked it over time. There's a few things that I would definitely recommend if you're to do one, which of course is still a decision for you to make. Be consistent with it. So I would say quarterly, I don't think is enough because it's long enough for people to forget you. I would say maybe not every week, because then you're spamming people and they're probably going to unsubscribe because they're tired of hearing from you. Again, depends on your business. I think Elaine does a weekly one, but hers are marketing updates. So it depends. For someone such as yourself, I would be thinking maybe bi-weekly, something like that. And there's a few other things that people generally, in my opinion, get wrong, which is they talk about themselves. And for want of not being rude, people don't really want to hear about us. They don't really care. What they do care about is their own problems or their own interests. So what I do with newsletters is I don't make them sales-based at all. I go into the news section of Google and put in a relevant topic, whatever that might be, and I look at what's in the news at that time, obviously filtering out anything rude. And then I build my newsletter based on what's buzzing and current within the last 2, maximum 3 weeks. And I make them fun. They're written from me or they're written from a team member. It's hey everyone, or hey friends, or hi guys, or whatever. Content wise, I keep the actual text not too long because people don't read it. If you do a big paragraph, people are just not going to read that. We're all busy, we don't have time. So beautiful, very low, small sized images so they don't block up the inbox. Catchy titles, bit of an emoji on a topic that's exciting, and around 4 to 6 max topics. Maybe tying in some partners, so long as it's not newsy, all that sort of thing. Signed off with, I hope you're having a great week. Get in touch with us if we're always here if you need me. So that angle of coming from a storytelling perspective, you're selling vicariously. Like some people think, I'm not selling, so what's the point? But you are selling. You're selling by the fact that your brand name lands in that inbox and they want to hear from you. That's already value in itself. And then the other thing I would say is if there is a call to action in there in some way, have that stat run off so that if someone clicks on, I don't know, so you had a video which was a tutorial on something important and you see that 5 people clicked it, then get somebody to just touch base with them and say, hey, would you like some more information? Don't bombard them with sales stuff because they're probably going to unsubscribe because they're like, every time I click something, these people bother me. But again, just make it like, treat everybody like they're your friends. Keep the content exciting, relevant, and up to date, and don't make it too long. And the other most important thing is that the images that go in are not too big because you just go straight into a spam box. The other thing I always bang on about is one of the newsletters I do, it always has a whale emoji at the front of it, and then it has like a title. And then I do, or I'll do something fun like electric boats and pirate ships and islands everyone forgot in the something news. And it's just interesting. It's not like, here's my newsletter, it just dropped. Instantly, I don't want to open it. But you try to give them something where they're like, oh, what's that? And then they click it,
So
and then
you're working the system with clickbait,
yep.
basically. Like
Well,
a
I
catchy
think clickbait,
title.
but ideally relevant clickbait, not like here's a picture of a dog wearing a baseball cap, like
Right.
not junk. It's got to be genuinely interesting.
But the title or the topic's got to be interesting enough that they're going to want to click it. Is essentially, and
Yeah.
it's not like read this article about bathymetric surveying or whatever it is, which some people are going to click, but some people are going to be like, I don't care about that. So they're never going to open it. But if it says something different, I think that's what you're saying, right? Is it's got to be somewhat catchy and interesting so they actually click the button.
Yeah, catchy and interesting, but what I would say is I can't reinforce enough that it has to be relevant content. So I know if they go into the news, but having researched something that's topic relevant. So ideally, these are all stories that whoever's receiving it, they should want to read it. So you should write it as though you're the recipient and you're like, do I even care? Because then all of the clickbaity things you're putting in the subject title, when I think of clickbait, I think of like just conning people into a click. Whereas like the snippets you're giving them in this title is saying, hey, I know I'm a newsletter, but there's really cool stuff in here. Open it,
I think
that's a difference.
I think as well, what's interesting, when you get a new audience, you've got to it's taking a little bit of time to build on that, what you're putting in that content. So that's why we know we get really good open rates with, like, say, DPA, Hannah. Was that I think 56% was the last open rate on their newsletter, which is really high because the content is very relative to that target audience. So then having like a catchy strap line is a key thing. So for example, one of the big things they're pushing with YouTube at the moment is two things. One is length, so getting people to just watch your videos, but is the thumbnail and the title. So having a catchy title and the thumbnails got to be a bit crazy. So that's why they're pushing.
And imagery that's capturing as well, because if you notice on YouTube, I hate to say it, but most of the snapshots before you play is usually a woman in a bikini. Don't recommend you do that. But the point is they're putting something there that they're like, oh, someone's going to click on that, That is a bit clickbaity. But then once they click it, it has to be valuable, because otherwise it's a short-term gain. You have one newsletter where everyone clicks on it and then they go, oh, this is crap, and then they unsubscribe. So it's really, there's no point in a short-term gain. I'd also say that, don't worry too much about having a massive list of people. If you've got a massive list of people and only, say you've got 200,000 people on your list and only 10 of them want to open it, well, that's not valuable. I'd rather have a list of 50 people and I get a 60%, 50% open rate.
Yeah.
It's more valuable. It's, we're not in it for vanity metrics. You want to see slowly over time your click rate either maintaining a good level or going up. Your open rate, the same deal. And you want to ideally see your subscribers growing, but at whatever rate that is for your business, there's no set formula for what is or is not right. I know some people with 200 contacts and others with thousands. It depends.
So how do you know what the ideal audience or ideal list number of contacts is? You know what I mean? Like, and how do you start? I guess is the other question. Like, you can create the content, but initially, who do you send it to? Do you just send it to everybody in your contact list and then they filter themselves out, or do you just handpick, 10 to 20 to start and then go from there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would. Well, I mean, first of all, there's GDPR issues. I hate to use that word, but it's true. So we all have to think about it.
No. They don't have it.
Oh, you guys are so lucky.
They could just
Can I say that on recording? Then you don't need to worry about that. Never mind. Do you have a?
I don't think you do you, Stuart? You don't have GDPR like California?
No. I don't think so.
No, I don't think you do either. So, well, yeah, sorry, Hannah, go ahead.
Then the first thing is check that. But if you don't, great, that makes your life a lot easier. Do you have a database of your clients?
Just from like a billing standpoint, yeah, like through QuickBooks, I have that database.
Mm-hmm. I would probably start with your list of clients, and when you send them the newsletter, always have on the bottom of the newsletter, like, you're receiving this because we're buddies, however you want to phrase it, but you're receiving it because we work together, whatever it is. Try to make it a bit light. if you would not like to receive these, unsubscribe buttons, so that
Yeah.
there's always that option to unsubscribe, because there's nothing worse than not putting that there and you're trying to unsubscribe and you can't, and then you hate the brand because they spam you and you can never get rid of it. But that's how I would start. I would just go to your customer base that you've accumulated over the years, and anyone who's done business with you, or, you know, is of some relevance, who you've got an email address for, go for it. What I would not do is info@emails, admin at any of those generic ones. Don't even bother. People's email addresses.
Okay,
Remember, quality over quantity. And just remember, if you do decide to do the newsletter, it's a long-term game. It's not next month you're just going to be the most popular person in email. It doesn't work that way. But the other thing you can look at doing as well is, let's say you decide to do, you've given your newsletter, you know, an identity, you've got cool subjects, you've got topics that are relevant to your buyer persona, so to your core target audience. You're sending them out regularly. And the reason we say to do that is because people can start to expect them. Like if they come out without fail every 2 weeks, people look for it. Like I get Billabong ones and they come every week without fail on a Tuesday. Like I know it's coming. So build in that relevancy. And then what you could do is you could say, well, I like my newsletter, so I'm going to actually put a newsletter section on my website. And to access it, people have to subscribe. And then when they do, they get the full, every time I do a newsletter, it's like a little news article. Not only does it help you for potentially for SEO, because it's more content on your website, but maybe gets you some more subscribers as well.
okay, so explain to me how that works again.
So
Like,
what you could do,
it's a not subscription based necessarily, but I mean, they're not paying for that access, but they.
no.
It's premier access if they sign up for the newsletter. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying? Okay.
Yeah. So for example, they might click newsletters, like a link on your website. And then when it goes to the page, a pop-up comes up saying, to access this, please subscribe. Or there's a, you know, give us your email. And if it already has it, they just go through. And if it doesn't already have it, it says, please subscribe to access. And then it lets them through. So you have some sort of gate is my point.
Gotcha.
And
then
that's why it's
your list even more if they're not already on.
right.
Okay.
And also that's why it's very important that your content is engaging and valuable, because if it's valuable, they'll tell their buddy, their other buddy, or they'll forward it or whatever. So it builds that trust in the brand to be either entertaining or informative. One is the two or both.
Right.
And maybe pick someone in your team, either yourself or usually someone like me who just can't stop talking. Pick somebody like that give them somebody the newsletter, so it always comes from the same person. That's nice too.
I don't have anybody in my office that has that problem.
It's like, let your dog do it. People love dogs.
So with regards to your database, how many clients do you have in your database that are not repeat customers yet? In percentage, roughly.
I would say roughly probably 50%.
Okay, so
Maybe
then
more.
for your target, so what you could do to start off, you could start producing a monthly newsletter or 2 a month, even if it's short newsletter. It could be 2 that you just split, and your target is to develop your current customer base into repeat business. So if your database is 50% single, you know, repeat business, and the other 50% is not, your target is then to get them to come back to you and buy through your newsletter.
Gotcha.
So, Hannah, can you show DPA's stats from the sale that they've had? Do you want to just show a little stat? I don't think Jim will mind.
I don't know where it is, to be honest, because Aaron demoed that, but I'll have a look while you're chatting.
So we did some stats the other day with one of our retainer customers, and we've tied it in with MailChimp. We're using MailChimp and tied that in with sending it out to the list, and they had a sale through it and it logged it. So now he's thinking, holy shit, now we can track through just the MailChimp newsletter and the content. So I think we've done 4 newsletters. Is that right? Or 3?
We've done 3. So that's what I meant to say earlier when Elaine talked about the jump in open rate or what have you as well. The first one we did was quite salesy, and I don't think the performance of that one was very good. It was our case studies and our this and our that and the the other. And then the second one I did how I usually do it, which was stories, and that one did a lot better. Just to, the third one has been written but not sent yet.
Yeah, so he's automatically seen a sale in the second one. So, which was really good. It's $1,000 sale or something like that. But that's something that would be very good. And you just start off with your current database and talking to that current database on some of the, now you probably have a mixture of segments in that database. Am I correct? You might have you might do some utility surveying or cadastral surveying or staking out or road work.
Right.
So one of the things that would probably be a good idea is that, have you got a MailChimp account?
I don't know.
Have you still got your Constant Contact account?
I don't know.
Okay, so it might be worth you opening a MailChimp account because it's very easy to use. Constant Contact's not so bad. I think it's a bit more old-fashioned, to be honest. And then getting your current client base on that database. And then you can start sending out the newsletter related to the segment. So the good thing about MailChimp is you can segment your customers. So you could say, these are staking out customers, these are road customers. So related to road, for example. So then when you come to do a newsletter, right, we're going to do something on roads and how we're doing survey work on roads. Right, I want this group of people because they're very focused to roads, whereas they won't be interested in staking out.
Okay.
See what I mean? And then start building it. It just needs to be 2 or 3 paragraphs. It doesn't need to be a lot. It could be actually educational piece on what would so like, for example, what would help you, Mr. Customer, is if you do X, Y, and Z before your survey team starts. So you're not saying buy from us or rebuy from us, but these are some of the things that will help you save money and time because you've prepped before we start for you. Otherwise, we have to do X, Y, Z.
Gotcha. It's educational, and you're educating your client or your potential client, basically with the intent of the newsletter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because also then they see you as like a thought leader or at least an industry, a knowledgeable person within industry. So if they're stuck, they're likely to think, oh, I'll ask those guys because they know, or they probably know. And that's not that measurable necessarily, but the value is for sure there. That's
yeah. But so then having like your clicks on there. So then when it comes to your social posts, sign up to my newsletter is your call to action on your social posts. So sorry, go ahead, Anna.
Just to highlight as well, I think I found the DPA thing, by the way, but I can't share for some reason. But I do think the reason that MailChimp was able to log the sale was somehow they have an online store. And I think that somehow it's linked. So I should highlight, if you're wanting to see things like that, if you have an online store or something like that, you've got to make sure that to talk to each other. I won't take credit for that because I don't know how Erin did it, but Erin did set that up. So it did cross over. But again, would not recommend putting in buy this drone on your newsletter. Like ideally it's something more subtle.
Okay. So here's a question for you. And I'm sure leaving board because we're talking about newsletter, but you talked about researching topics, relevant topics. Is it okay, I guess would be the right word, to link someone else's article in your newsletter?
Oh yes, that's mainly what I do. That's mainly what I do. So I'll find different industry, for example, but in the marine industry, I'll be looking up e-boating or how to fix your engine or whatever. I mean, the whole nature of it being in the news within the last 2-3 weeks is that it's an article to somewhere. But I would always try to make sure it's a quality website. It's not full of spam. Try to only send them to decent places. But yeah, I mean, I think most of the newsletters that I do there's 1 or 2 links back to the actual company, and the rest are all external stories, unless there really is a case study on our website where I'm like, that is an awesome case study, go there.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay.
I noticed a lot of people click on the logo at the top as well. Interesting, because I also use this program called SendPulse, and it shows you a click map, and the click map is largely on the logo at the top, which I would have never thought people would click. While we're talking about links as well, so I used to do it where it's like links everywhere. You know, I usually do like image, text, and then the image would have a link in it, and there would be a call to action at the bottom, and then again and again and again. Now I don't put it in the image. I just put a small link at the bottom. Check it out here, discover more, whatever you're going to do. Just for spam filters, I feel like if you put in too many links, big links especially, like lots of text with a link, it can raise your spamminess.
Okay.
I think with the newsletter, you've got to have a goal for it. So if like your current database, then great. You could get, your goal could be like, right, let's convert 50% of the clients into repeat business. So those 50% of the clients that have not bought from you again, what are some of the stories that you could share, the problems that you've solved with current clients that have repeated, that you know that they might be interested in?
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. That's your homework now. You've got to set up a newsletter.
Yeah, that is the other valuable thing I would say. Is like you are touching base with your customers again and again, and that in itself is a valuable thing. You know, you could extend this, so there's newsletters, but you could also look at drip feed campaigns where you do. There's lots of software out there where you can automate emails. So you know, a week after a customer has bought something from you or finished a project, it'll send them something saying, hey, just checking in. How'd you get on? Would you mind leaving us a Google review? And then maybe, you know, 12 weeks later, it's just triggered to send one saying, is there anything else we can help you with? It was so nice working with you the first time. And again, very soft. You just always sort of there, you know?
And again, MailChimp will do that. MailChimp, I think Constant Contact does that as well, to be honest, but MailChimp does that.
Okay.
I'm not an expert with what programs are best, just to say, but I've seen it work in action, and it is a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Every time I come on one of these, you give me homework, Elaine. I don't know if I appreciate that.
Hey, don't put Richard off. Richard's just joined. He's new. Don't put him off. Quick.
I would say though, really think about your newsletter. Like I know Elaine says, now go away and make one. But what I would say is really decide if it's for you, because if you're going to do one, you need to do it right. You know, use it or lose it. Just like you shouldn't have an Instagram account if it sits empty. Just don't do it. But if you're going to commit to it or commit somebody in your team to it, great. And those are all the tips for doing it right.
Okay.
And also from a sales pitch from me, we do content newsletters in-house if you wanted to go down that route.
Okay.
Just to keep you in the pitch with that.
Richard, are you there? Because we're looking at power lines.
I am actually, yeah. Sorry, I was in the middle of doing something at the same time, and sorry, my camera.
We
was
got to
closed.
pick on you.
So, Richard, meet Hannah, Stuart, and Leven.
Hello.
Are we all good?
Where are you joining us from, Richard?
Middle of the UK.
Oh, you're near Elaine. You should pop round for a coffee.
Hannah's in Amsterdam, Leven's in Belgium, and Stuart is in Idaho in the States.
Good stuff.
Belgium. You're not too far away.
Far away. So, Leven, how are you getting on?
Well, pretty good. So, but I haven't had time to do anything about the course. So I haven't done my homework in 2 years, Stuart. So, and I still get on the Zoom. So no problem.
He's naughty.
Yeah. I don't listen, but I try. But when I want to start something else comes up, and that's the problem with doing everything yourself. So.
Yeah, but you have had some pretty good wins though, haven't you? I mean, what was the major win last year?
The major win?
You flew to.
To GeoWeek. Yeah, at the moment that was very good. Now I haven't had any response from that later on. So some people I texted me some things, but it was not that like there was a huge response of how that went and so on. But actually yesterday I got a message from someone from Canada who had someone who has a job that has to be done in Amsterdam, and he forwarded me to me. So I just got in a message to make a quote to do some scanning in Amsterdam. So
Hey, come on over. The weather's
Yeah.
great.
I've been in Amsterdam like a few months ago to scan the how do you call it on the train station, the main floors above. So
Oh, the power line, power lines. I don't know.
no, where the tracks are at. So you have the walls, how they built the walls with old stones in Amsterdam
Oh.
Central Station. So that was a
Mhm.
job I did a few months ago. So
Hmm.
I'm in
Yeah.
Amsterdam like not often, but I've done some scanning in Schiphol and some around Amsterdam. So
Oh, cool. Yeah, they're doing a lot of bathymetric work over here because all the canal walls are falling in. And there's a big city project to rebuild the walls. They actually started during COVID when, for the first time in many a year, we had no tourists. And so you go through and you see these big barricades where they're rebuilding all the underwater walls that are sort of slowly going like this, like all the buildings.
yeah, lots of activity. I know a lot of a few companies in Holland who I work with or whom I'm connected with, and they do like the bridges and everything else. So lots going on there. A bit
Yeah,
more
what better
here.
city for surveyors than a city full of buildings that are slowly falling over?
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Just saying.
So Lieven's literally a one-man band, aren't you? But you are. I've encouraged him over the years to keep pushing his posts, and this has then got the attention of the manufacturer. So they invited him then to be a speaker over at GeoWeek. So
Wow, they invited you as a speaker. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I went there and I didn't. The only expense I had was from here to the airport in Brussels for my cab ride. I didn't dare to ask to make an invoice for that. So and for the rest, from Brussels to Denver and back, I didn't spend a single dollar. So it didn't
That's a
cost me
win.
nothing.
Yeah, well, I think it's good advice also for you guys as well on the call. Your personal profiles, it's really powerful. In fact, we have some clients at the moment where we would have in the past just done social media content planners for their businesses, and it would have just gone out on their business page. And actually, just recently we changed one of them to be one on the company page, one on a dedicated face of the company on their personal profile page, and then sharing it as the company, because Elaine and Aaron recently went to a social media event, and it was all about how algorithms are focusing more on personal profiles than necessarily company ones. So each and every one of you might think like, oh, it's not me, it's not my thing, or no one wants to hear what I have to say. They do, because if you can grow your own profile, you may find that clients come to you. They won't come to your business and inquire that way. They'll just contact you. We're seeing that more and more.
I never get a message from. I have a company LinkedIn page, but I don't get any messages from it. So when the people who like posts that I put up there are the same who like my posts, my private posts. So I don't see not much advantage to run a company page. So like for GeoWeek, Stuart, because I think you should go there next year, because like for networking, not for the show itself, like the exhibition, but for networking, it seemed to me for like Americans a very good event. So
It's
every,
every year, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
and then I think it's next year also in Denver. So everybody was talking with everyone the whole time, and in the evenings, and when with all the free the free parties that went on. So there was a lot of interaction between companies and between persons. Not so much as vendors like trying to sell something. It was more a networking event. So maybe for you, you're not that far, I think. So
No, not really. I could drive there if I wanted to.
yeah, now it was. I think there were more like really reality capture people there than there were like surveyors. So it was not like a surveyors exhibition, but more like everything to do with laser scanning and stuff like that. But still, I heard some good discussions there. So maybe for you, it's maybe worth going next year.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
But yeah, if you guys are going to take some homework from this week, I would just try to do one post a week on your own profiles, just one. Something that interests you as well. Don't just be like, oh, I have to post anything. Like, share your knowledge. I get it's hard when it's you. It's easier to write for someone else. I even have it for myself, but you just try to do one a week. Everybody's got time for one a week.
I'm like doing more. The last post I did is like I take a project I do, and then I make a short list. I did this for this client with this equipment, and then post a picture of the instruments. Yesterday I did the landscaping on the swimming pool somewhere. So I just took some pictures. I staked out a few points, and then I said, okay, this is for the swimming pool construction company, blah blah blah. It was done with this gear. Contact me.
Perfect.
So, and I what I see from those posts, I get a lot of views on it. So
Also, but again, that's an actual project that you were on. You're sharing real life projects, and then just contact me if you've got a question about anything related to it. They do tend to do better. That, you know, don't try to make them too perfect either. Don't sit there trying to get the perfect photograph. Anything you take on your smartphone will do. You know,
I'm not a photographer. I just post like, this is what I'm doing, and I cannot do anything else. So this I can do good, and contact me if you want something to be done like that. That's it. So I'm not.
you're gonna clap from me. That's good.
I'm
That's what we
not
want
trying to
people doing.
reinvent the wheel, because the things I do, everyone does it for like for dozens of years. But that's I get some responses from that for people who seen those posts. So that's Elaine knows that I've been doing this for like 3 years now, I think, to post like just what I'm doing at that day. And even if it's making a plan, drawing a plan, I take a picture, I'm drawing a plan of that, boom, finished, and then and move on to and then post something 2 days later. So
Yeah. The good thing about it, if you can get conversations going on your LinkedIn posts, massive boost in what and how who sees that.
Yeah.
So that's the other big thing. I've just Gula, he's in Slovakia, I think. Yeah, he's in Slovakia. He's speaking with me next week at Hexagon Live. Check him out. He's got 35,000 followers on LinkedIn. Very much reality capture guy, but a really good, interesting person to follow with regards to what he's posting, and just see how he's doing stuff. So he's quite an interesting guy.
yeah, but he was on a GeoHolics last week, and he told some things that weren't true. He said that surveyors have completely missed the boat on laser scanning. So that's not true. Who started using laser scanners that were surveyors like 15 years ago? They bought the expensive equipment. Now everybody does it, and then the surveyors they use it less, but those were the people who actually invested like hundreds of thousands
Yeah, it's
15
true.
years ago. So that I wanted to make a comment to the geoholics, but I haven't done it yet because I'm on the show like in a few weeks myself. So I'm going to talk about that. So
Yeah. Stuart, have you been on the Geoholics?
I haven't, no,
Love to get you on that.
I don't think I've ever even listened to their podcast.
It's good. Kent's got a really good voice as well on there. Not that he's ugly or anything, but don't tell him I said that. But yeah, Richard, you should check that out. It is American, but it has got an international audience, so they do get different people from around the world to go on to it.
What was
It's
that, sorry?
Geoholics. So Kent Grow is the guy who runs it. Well, that's that. So it'd be really interesting, Lieven, if they actually got any backlash from that podcast. Then, if anybody else has said anything, because I haven't seen anything online.
yeah, because I had some discussions with this Gula guy, like on comments. So I'm not but that's my personal opinion. Huh? So there's a lot of stuff that he says that I don't think that's true, or he
Yeah.
tells stuff. But okay. So, but I heard that comment from him, and I told
Yeah.
myself, yeah, that's not true. So the people who started using scanners were surveyors, and then they missed the boat at the end because they were the people who got scanning equipment here were like very large companies. They did everything petrochemical. Then they used that gear, and then eventually everything went cheaper. But then, okay, there was a time where surveyors weren't interested in it, but it's not. So he talked to me it was some silly talk that surveyors aren't that they are going to miss the boat completely on everything and blah blah blah, and that only the reality capture guys are going to win it all. And it's a load of to me it's a load of nonsense in fact. Yeah.
I like the bluntness. You just say it as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what we do on this side of the pond.
If there aren't any surveyors, there's nothing staked out. No reality capture guy can stake out a building. No one can.
Yeah. Yeah.
They only can use their scanning scanner, and that's it. They don't know how to run a level. They don't know how to run like stations, a network of stations. They don't have a clue how GNSS works to use it correctly. So if it wasn't for the surveyors who staked out buildings, they wouldn't have anything to scan.
So I might have a controversial panel next week. Because
Yeah,
I'm holding the panel. I'm holding the panel for pure surveying. Great. Woo!
No, but
That's just going to stress you out even more, Elaine.
I'm on keynote. I'm keynote speaker. I've got a social media panel, and then I've got Hexagon Live TV, and then I'm on this discussion panel about business and something or other. So I've got like 4, and I think Mikkel's on the social media and the business panel. I think I only met him today in person, online. So when I had a meeting with him this morning. So interesting. Okay. Put your point across, Lieven, because let's get some debate going online.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. And the problem is that surveyors they have kept quiet the whole time, and everyone who isn't a surveyor and does everything with scanning, they tend to tell their clients that a surveyor is useless and not worth the money, and they can do it themselves. That makes me it makes me angry over here.
Yeah.
I have a lot of competition of companies who don't have a clue. Huh? So they buy some scanners, and yeah.
This is an interesting topic to
Yeah, because one last thing, because yesterday there was a post from Topcon on something like machine control for like small companies who have like a small excavator, and they can dig like small trenches and stuff like that with machine control from Topcon. And that's the future and blah, blah, blah. And I posted a comment on it. I said, are you ever, is the goal of Topcon to never sell any total stations anymore? Or do you want the people who provided your everything that like Topcon is great for the surveyors who bought their gear in the past, and now they are completely saying, hey, you don't have to use a surveyor anymore. You buy all this machine control equipment, and you can save a lot of money. And those kind of things make me personally angry.
I get you. I hear you.
Sorry for the rant.
I'm
but,
with you, Lee. I'm 100% with you.
Yeah,
Because those kind of comments are frustrating when manufacturers or construction companies say, we can do it all on our own. We don't need surveyors anymore.
yeah.
And that's entirely false.
And I'm waiting for Topcon to re-comment my comment, but they don't. So my comment is there.
No, they won't comment.
They won't comment. So
No, it needs to be somebody else.
yeah, so
It's the same with Leica. So like if I come up with something that, because Miguel said to me, Maritz said to me, who's the president of Pure Surveying Division, he says, you can say that, Elaine, but I can't say it because I'm pushing innovation. Because I had the innovation talk with you, didn't I, Stuart, about surveyors not being innovative and stuff. And I said, they might be innovative in the way they do things, but not necessarily in traditional surveying. And he said, well, I can't say that because I'm trying to sell more product. And when you're also pivoting as well, the products to non-survey people as well as survey people. So he says, but only you can say that, Elaine. I says, well, you should be saying it because you probably get more respect as a manufacturer.
Right.
yeah. But it's all about the sale now. All these companies like Trimble, they only want to sell, even if everything is kept in a box the whole time. They don't care. Huh?
No, but no.
They sell 100 scanners and 95 don't get used ever. Okay, we sold the 95, and that's to me it's a complete like 20 years ago, something like that wouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
So and that makes me like a bit angry, because all these people who don't have a clue what an XYZ coordinate is, they keep buying all this equipment. They are chasing our markets, and but they are ruining it for everyone. Huh?
Yeah, I hear you. I think from a surveyor's point of view, though, you have to pivot. You have to change. And I think that's one of the big things that surveyors not very good at is change.
Yeah, but
most of us are afraid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even think that's a surveyor thing. I think that's inherent in human nature. People are resistant to change.
Yeah, but it's like when GNSS started, the surveyor with a base and a rover, we started using it. It was very complicated. Then we got like RTK systems. But now here in Belgium, everyone has access to RTK. So nobody has to pay for it. So every contractor buys their own GNSS equipment for like an eMELT for 3,000-4,000 euros. And they start measuring everything themselves. They stake out everything themselves. And everything, and the only time they call me or some other surveyor is when everything is messed up and they don't have a clue what they're doing. So that's,
you see, then it comes full circle, because it ends up coming back to you because it goes wrong. So it's sort of waiting for the ball to drop.
yeah, but the circle, the time that it is coming back is taking too long.
Yeah.
So your homework then, Lieven, you're going to write an article, a white paper on this.
Yeah.
You knew you were going to get given work, right?
Yeah, I have a ton here, so no, but that's something and the problem is the other surveyors are all, I am also one guy, but nobody talks about it, and nobody wants to say, yeah, it's not going so well here. we have
Yeah.
less work or this or that. And I think there's a lot of frustration. I'm sure it's not only here in Belgium, but everywhere else.
So
Yeah, but
do
what
a
you
poll.
can
Go on.
do, sorry, Elaine, but you don't have to pivot it from the perspective of, we don't have enough work, therefore it's a struggle. You put it from the customer standpoint up. So you say, our customers are suffering because there is this assumption in the industry, and it means that projects are going wrong. And at the end of the day, it comes back to us where it would have started in the first place. Don't fall into the pitfall. So you don't put it from like, we haven't got enough work, blah, blah, blah. You put like, our poor customers are suffering because of this industry issue.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I know when I post something like that, all the non-surveyors will say, "Oh, this surveyors with they think."
Let them talk.
Yeah, but that's
Let them talk.
okay.
Good or bad, it's good exposure for you. So do a poll on it, Lieven. Do a poll on it online on LinkedIn, and then
Yeah,
do a
yeah.
white paper to back it up.
Yeah.
Okay, Richard, how are you getting on? 1 week in.
To be fair, I haven't done anything. I've been absolutely snowed on with everything else.
There's
So.
a theme here, boys. You've all said this.
Yeah.
You're lucky Elaine's not, well, actually, Elaine's closest to you, so you might actually get your butt kicked. The other two are safe.
Oh,
Yeah, you can get here fast by Eurostar, so it's only 2 hours away. So
Yeah, or London to Amsterdam by train.
oh, direct flight from Leeds to Amsterdam, and then I
Yeah.
think it's a direct flight to Brussels actually. Yeah.
hey, Elaine, was Geo Business, was that any good?
Yeah, we were very, very busy. We had people just waiting to speak to us. So yeah, for me, it was very, very good. I just got a massive bugbear about it being at the Excel. I hate the place. It's just not got community focus whatsoever. They've lost all the community they had at the design center.
Oh, okay.
I was
Because-
they came to interview me, and then they stopped the video recording because I was just ranting about the shitty Excel and how it cost me 300 pounds for 3 lights.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was there like 3 or 4 years ago in King's Cross somewhere. It was there,
Yeah.
years ago, and that was like a very nice venue.
Yeah, it was design center was great. It was a bit more tricky to get to, but it was the atmosphere was really good. But yeah, I get it. I understand it from the exhibition organizer's point of view. But yeah, from a person exhibiting, I think the community feels gone to
No,
it.
because I'm thinking about going next year, because there's a flight from Antwerp here directly to London City,
yeah.
so you can fly and you land like in the exhibition hall.
Yep.
So, but now I wanted to come, but it was like very expensive for a flight. So I said, okay, and then take a flight to Heathrow and then the tube and so on. So I said, no, I'll leave it this year. So, but maybe
Yeah, you
I'll
don't want to get the
next year.
tube. No, avoid that.
We've got Intergeo next. Well, Hexagon next, and then Intergeo is the next one.
Yeah, maybe I'll go to Intergeo, but I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. So fab. All right. Does anybody else have any questions or want to pick our brains?
Or does anyone else want more homework?
We haven't given Richard homework yet.
Silence.
I'm softly getting him into the routine.
I don't need any homework.
So, Richard, what do you do? Because I see some I see some high voltage pictures, power lines behind you. So,
I survey and design high voltage overhead lines.
okay. Because I do here in Belgium. Me and a colleague, we do the sag. So we stake out the sag lines of new or replacement lines.
Hmm.
So I don't do any calcs, but we do. We're the only 2 guys here in Belgium who do those kind of new vault. We install this. We set the sag, and then they place the cable at the temperature, Excel files and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. All right then. Any other
Nice to
questions?
meet everybody. Yeah, 1 post a week. That's what I'm going to say. 1 post a week.
You're nice, Hannah. I say 1 post a day.
No, I've got PR that do that anyway.
But they're never going to do that. That's the thing. Start with something they'll do. If you can't do 1 post a week, then you are in
Yeah, so
trouble.
Richard's
One
got a
a
little advantage because he has a nice little social media company doing his stuff for him on the side. So this is
Oh, there
good.
you go.
So
Well, then we need like
Easier.
100 posts a week.
Now, I like Stuart's posts because I see them pass by and I think they're actually pretty good.
Oh, thank you.
So he focuses on the surveying side, and I think it's very clear. So if I didn't know who he was, I actually would know if I would call his company what he can do for me. So I think
There you
that's the whole aim of posting on LinkedIn and other platforms.
Thanks, Leland. I like a lot of yours too, so.
Yeah, I'll try. Yeah, maybe I'll do some. I did some stakeouts today, so maybe I'll make a post this evening.
There you go. Look at this little GMA family we got going on here. Nice. I feel the love.
And Hannah, so you're not a surveyor, right?
No, I got into the surveying industry because of Elaine, because she gave me my first ever marketing job when I forget how old, 23 or something, at MDL back in the day, Measurement Devices Limited. It got bought by Renishaw. Yeah, and then we went our separate ways for a while because I'm a sailor and I went into the sailing industry for a long time, and then we joined up again about 5 years ago. And I got back into it. So I'm a bit of everything. I'm not a surveyor, but I've been in and out of the industry for.
she is a drone pilot.
Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, my license is currently expired though, but I like to fly drones. Yeah.
Rather handy.
Drones are my thing. Drones and horses and boats and
Okay.
surfing.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Bit hard to fly drones in Amsterdam. A lot of airway traffic.
Yeah. Yeah, don't do drones because it's all too regulated here. So
That's exactly why I stopped getting my license, because you have to pay for it every year and it's really expensive. And I was like, God, for the paperwork, the amount I would have to charge to validate my time on a project is more, it's more than I think is worth, it's got to be part of a bigger outfit than just being like a solo woman and her drone. It doesn't really work.
yeah, over here there's an Air Force base nearby, so there's always something going on, or helicopter training, or so it's
Yeah. Air
just,
Force bases, they put out blockers, so you could put your drone in the sky and it just falls out of the sky because they put a block on flights for UAVs. So pretty scary place to be flying.
yeah. So
Don't leave in. Hannah runs our accounts, so our retainer project client.
yeah, okay.
But she's the content queen, as I call her. So if you want, when you came on earlier, we were just discussing newsletters with Stuart, and Hannah gets involved with more of the newsletters, more in-depth content pieces that build up your leads and how you develop those nurture leads through your newsletter.
Yeah,
All the noisy stuff.
I saw that I'm following her, but I never see any of her posts come by. So
Following who?
you. So
Oh, me.
yeah,
I work her to the bone.
I did a newsletter one last week.
Oh, maybe it's got yeah.
Tip for Stuart over there. I did a newsletter one. I'm practicing what I preach though. I also try to do 1 post a week because like everybody, I get busy, and I one day realized that my own profile was woefully neglected. So I also had a word with myself.
Yeah.
So one quick question before we finish. You said post to your personal page and then have your company page share that. Is that?
Yeah, you don't have to do it every
Or
time, but you
Or you just post the same post to both pages?
Yeah, so you can just share it, but you can also share it with thoughts. So then as the company, you could add a little something to it as the company's thought, or you could just share it. I think it's probably more valuable to add a little something on top. Also, it doesn't have to be a rule of thumb like every post share it across, but I would do it sporadically, you know.
Okay.
With the DPA ones, Elaine, I think initially we're just sharing them all, but
Yeah. Yeah, we do all that. Yeah. But like you see,
Yeah.
we've been with DPA, we've gained masses of traction. I mean, the awareness boost going through DPA's company post is good because we're very consistent and frequent with the post, and very much the specific to the target audience. So which has gained massive traction, and then we've just kept that going. But you see where we get the most traction from like direct messages is through Jim's profile. So the owner's profile, we, you know,
yeah.
some guest, or was it ghostwriting behind?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing about profiles. I mean, why I think you guys, you know, doing your own is really important, because like these guys as well, they have a cool background. They're all from the military. They've all flown fighter jets. You know, and now they're teaching drone courses. So like, I remember when I did my drone course, it was also a guy out of the RAF, you know, the British Air Force. So it was kind of cool to think, oh, you really have some kudos behind what you're saying to me. So like, again, building up your profile as people in industry, it just makes people want to listen to you more because you're sharing your knowledge. And it, like I say, it can feel a bit weird because you're like, oh, look at what I know. But then you forget that what's in here is really valuable and not everybody knows what you know. So it's good to share it.
And people buy from people. So building your personal brand is really key. Having your voice is key. So
People buy from people.
people buy from
Write that
people.
one down. Yeah.
Grand.
Perfect. That was my last question. Sorry.
No, you keep, that's what we're here for, questions. Any other questions? You've got wild hair today, Leven, by the way.
Yeah, no, sorry about that, but I've been out, so, and it's sunny and warm, but it's very windy. So
Sorry, Elaine comments on people's hair a lot. She often tells me I look like a scarecrow, so don't listen to Elaine.
yeah. And the problem is you have to wear a hard hat, so when you don't take it off, so I don't have it. Yeah, it's like that. So
You just gotta go full afro, you know, just let it go.
Yeah.
Own it.
Own it. We like it. Brilliant, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. And if you have any other questions, let me know. The next 2 weeks, unless Hannah jumps in next week, and I don't know how you're fixed next week, Hannah, I'll be on different time to everybody else.
Oh yeah, I can probably do next week, Elaine. I'll catch up with you about it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll let you know anyway in school. So if there's any change, we'll post it in school.
Sounds
Nice
good.
to meet everybody.
Fun.
Okay,
See you
but-
soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
bye.
See you later.